Hi friends, welcome, welcome. If you are here, chances are you've just ordered yourself some amazing Seint makeup and you are looking for a little bit of guidance on what to do now. So for those of you who don't know me, I am Bev Boone and this is my beauty parlor and welcome. So I'm going to dive into all things that happen when you first get your makeup and help you through that initial like, oh my goodness, what now stage. So when your box arrives, you'll notice it's beautiful. The packaging for Seint is outstanding. Inside that gorgeous box, if you happen to look and take out all the stuffing, is nice embossed Seint and words, and that box actually flips inside out. You can take the packaging apart and you can fold it backwards and you can create yourself a beautiful little box to use for storage or maybe keeping some of your Seint stuff in, or even wrapping a gift and giving to somebody. It's a really nice box. I always tell people about the flipping inside out is just part of the superior packaging that comes, and it's kind of a nice thing to be able to do and keep, right, to recycle. Chances are your makeup tins came in a little baggie like this. That's just to keep them all protected in shipping. So if you want to take your tins out, you'll notice that they just slide open. And if you do have any trouble sliding them, but sometimes if you put a little bit of Scotch tape on the bottom and pull on the tape, sometimes it's from the pressure that we're applying with our finger. But this is one of the beautiful colors. This is Cindy, one of my favorite lip and cheeks. And I always tell people, you know, notice how pretty the tins are. If you look on my shelf right over there, I've got a martini glass filled with tin tops. I like to save them in a collection. Plus, if I ever need them, I can go grab it. But also, because they work to go in between your tins and help you if you ever need to pop up a tin, it helps loosen it from your compact so you're not necessarily digging your fingers in it. Even though I'm sure you'll do that too, because I think we all have one time or another, so don't fret, it's okay. So I am working with a compact 12. Chances are if you ordered from me, that's the compact you started with as well. Not this design necessarily, but this shade. So I have a color corrector called Frenchie, which is actually a lip and cheek. I have really dark under eyes, and that's an area that I need correcting. So if I recommend it, and if you went ahead and purchased this round, a corrector, it doesn't have to be the same one as mine. Chances are it could be something different depending on your issues, but chances are you have, or you may have, a corrector. You also will have a brightener shade. You'll notice this guy's a little lighter than this one. So this is my main shade, which pretty much matches my skin tone best. This one is a brightener. In non-makeup or in non-Seint world, it might be known as concealer, like similar to your concealer, and this would be similar to a foundation, when in fact these two, plus this guy, which is your contour, make your foundation. The idea of Seint is that it's 3D, so 3-dimension. So those three colors, your brightener, your main, and your contour, make up your foundation. So if you don't have a corrector in yours, that's fine. Then the fourth piece in the puzzle is a lip and cheek, and that can be any of the colors that are there that are your choice or your favorite. This one is Cindy. Like I said, she's one of my favorites, so I'll use that today. And this extra guide that I have in here, you'll see that it's warmer than this one. So contour creates a shadow. So we're wanting to think of it in that way, that it's like creating a shadow under your cheeks, a shadow on your forehead, under your jaw, to kind of diminish some of the things that you don't want standing out. And then our brightener, aka concealer, our brightener shade is going to go mostly in the center of our face, in areas that we want to bring things forward and help to pop and look gorgeous. And doing all of that, we're giving ourselves dimension to our face. So gone are the days of just taking a liquid or a powder and slapping a beige all over your face, because that doesn't do anything for our dimension. And it doesn't do anything to help with our features and make us look our best. So this makeup is designed to do just that. So we're going to dig in. This guy, I should have mentioned as well, is a bronzer shade. So chances are if you ordered through me, you started with the blush and bronzer brush, and you'll notice our packaging here is outstanding as well. Your brush is going to come netted. You just slip it right out of the netting. I'm going to go ahead and use one that I already have opened, of course, for today's video. I'll just use my own. So this is the blush and bronzer, and you probably scored a bonus because you got this guy, no doubt, at a discount when you bought it bundled with your brush, and that's the reason I did it. I love bronzer. I feel, especially as a mature woman, I'm 59, that extra warmth to my skin is kind of essential, and it's a bonus. So hey, I'm frugal. I like to get a bonus, don't you? So I hooked you up with saving some money right out the gate. I am probably going to throw on a couple of eyeshadow colors just because I'm going to want to finish my look for you, because I did take a before picture and I'll post that at the end. If you didn't order eyeshadows, don't worry, don't be overwhelmed. It's all good. You can get them another time, but I'm just going to show you a couple uses. So this is my own personal compact here with all my shades. This is a compact 27. Down the road, your addiction will grow. It's a good addiction. It's healthy. It's going to make you feel good and give you confidence. So how can you go wrong? So for today's video, I'm actually going to use this small brush called a smudge brush to apply my makeup. But chances are you started with just this one brush. So you can use your finger or you can use the small end of this brush. Even though online you're going to see lots of people that do dots and stripes and apply the makeup that way, and it looks really cool, especially on younger girls. But I feel as we mature, there's no better application than with brushes, and we have some of the best, but you don't need them all. Seint has 10 double-ended brushes, so that works out to be 20 brushes. You don't need them all. Here are my top favorites. So the blush and bronzer. And then if you're ready to splurge and have a little more, this guy is the detail brush. It cups and helps you get the best contour. Cups under your cheek, cups your forehead. You could actually do your whole face with any of these brushes, which is why you guys are starting with this one. But you could do the same with this one brush as well, except this guy came as a bonus with the bronzer, and that's why I suggested you start there. But really, they're all equally as good, and they all have their own purposes. This other end would be good for detailing work that you'd want to do as well with, you can even contour your eyes, you guys. So whatever you want to do with that. And then my other favorite for my face is called the Buff. Now, you might see a lot of other artists talk about a 3D brush, and I do like the 3D brush as well. It's unique because it's got this kind of a pointy end. It gives you a really nice medium coverage, but I feel for my aging skin, I like a little more full coverage, and that's what this Buff brush gives me. So the Buff brush, it has a big end, it's angled, and it's really dense. Our brushes are very dense. They are made for cream makeup, and they make a really big difference to your makeup application. So I do suggest either booking a party and earning them for free. I'd love to help you with that, or investing, you know, in another party with one of your friends, or just reaching out to me and I can help you invest in the brushes as you go, and they make such a difference to your application. I like to use the small end for my brightener shade, and then when I'm doing that, anytime I need to correct, let's say, and go back and touch up with my main, I know it's always on this end. My brightener, I know it's always on this end. My contour, I know is always here. So if I want to go back and kind of spruce things up a little with something, I have it right at my fingertips. And then for eyeshadow, we do have amazing brushes, but I do suggest you start with at least two. This eyeshadow brush is called the eyeshadow brush. This is an older style, so the color is different. It would come in the coloring of this, so not the brown anymore, but this one is one that I've been using and love, so I haven't replaced it. It's got a small end for detail work, a big fluffy end that kind of mops it out, and honestly, best eyeshadow brush I've ever used in my life. If you're going to invest in shadows, strongly suggest this guy. And then this one is the line brush. It's got a spoolie end. It's got an angled, detailed little hair like bristles, perfect for doing your brows, all that kind of fun stuff. So let's get started. So when you start with Seint, you can use a primer if you feel like you prime your face. I feel personally, I do my skincare and I put a moisturizer on in the morning before I do my makeup. I feel that works for me. Or you could go in, you know, to your sunscreen and kind of do that kind of an application as a primer first. But for the purpose of today, we're just going to deal with what came in the mail. and work with our makeup. And if you need fine-tuning or you have questions about a primer or things you should use, reach out to me individually and I would love to help you with that. So you can use your finger. I'm going to use the smudge brush today, but before I get started, I'm going to do a little bit of correcting because I've got those dark under eyes, remember? So I like to correct with a little bit of Frenchie. Now, we do have demi colors and I do use demi colors as well to correct, and it gives a totally different feel or look. Well, I shouldn't say it's different. I mean, it still does the same kind of coverage, but it's a different product, let's say. And it's something that we'll go into later when you watch my videos. For now, we're sticking to the basics, and that's 3D. So I've just put a little bit of that corrector in my under eyes. I'm going to take a little bit of my main shade and just kind of stipple, which means I'm patting. And you'll see me do that motion with applying a lot of the makeup. I feel like pressing it in really makes a difference with this makeup because it's cream. You don't want it just sliding all around your face. And there is a little bit of a, of a learning curve with that, but just know that it's making your makeup kind of pressed in and a better application. So that's all I'm going to do with my eyes. So at least I don't look as dark now, and I feel like I look more like a clean slate to start. So you can grab your finger. We're going to take a little bit of that product on your finger if you want, or you can use the small end of the brush that you've got and tap in. If you're using the brush, just give it a pinch and kind of guide down. So we're going to feel for our cheekbone. A little pointer at this stage, I might say too, is pause and catch up with me. Do your makeup along with me, so that way it's easier for you. And if you do that a couple of times, so pause and play, it'll help you. And then after a couple of days, you won't need the video anymore. So if you feel for your cheekbone, starting right here at your ear, where it connects with your face, you're going to just run some of that contour out. If you're older like me, you're going to want to kind of curl that toward your nose, because if you follow the natural cheek line, it's going to run down here and it's going to make your volume in your cheek look less. And we're trying to make the volume in our cheek look a little plumped up, because as we age, we lose that volume. So this is just a little cheat to kind of make our cheeks look a little higher and lifted. You don't want to come out past the corner of your eye, if you see that. So just take a good look at the placement that I've got. And then I'm going to take that same contour. I'm going to come up here on my forehead. And your contour, you'll notice, is a little more ash than your bronzer. The bronzer is definitely more gold and adds more warmth. And as we age, we all need a little more warmth back in our skin, because it's one of the things that happens is, and I'm talking about aging because I'm a mature artist, and chances are, if you're following me, you might be interested in that. And if you're not, usually you younger babes, you just got this already figured out, you know what you're doing. And it's kind of the same steps. It's just there's a few extra things that I'm going to kind of highlight and caution, like jowls. As my cheek falls, my jowl sags here. So I want to take a little bit of that contour and just shade right on the jowl. Whereas otherwise, I'm just going right up and under my cheek. And it's creating a shadow. Can you see it's cast a shadow? So it's just giving me like a stronger jawline and bringing back that definition. And then I'm going to come with this under my lip, because I'm wanting some definition there as well. I like to take my finger and take a little bit of that contour, let it warm with the temperature of my body heat. Because it's cream, it melts with your body heat. So I'm taking that on my nose. You'll see my fingers are still touching, and I'm just rubbing up and down. The reason I'm doing that is it is giving me the perfect spacing on my nose. So with nose contour, and this is optional, you guys, you don't have to do nose contour, but I love it. You want to kind of have it so that it's on top of your nose. If you put it on the sides, it's actually going to make your nose, because you're creating a shadow here, going to make your nose look wider. Do you see that? But because we're putting the shadow up here, it's actually going to make my nose look thinner And that's the look I'm going for. This is something that you don't have to master right away. You can come back and play with nose contour later. So please, whatever else you do, don't let it stress you out. It is not meant to be stressful, and really, it doesn't even really matter. You can come and do it later. I'm just putting a little bit of contour here on the top of my lip as well, right in that Cupid's bow area. So there we have our contour. So you're going to pause and you're going to catch up to me. So on your forehead, and if you're like me, you've got a 5 head because I've got a really high hairline, so I'm trying to diminish that. And then we're going to blend that once you've got it all placed. So here, under here, if you want it on your lip and if you want it down your nose. So before we go further, let's blend. So I'm taking the small end of the brush and I'm just kind of pushing up. So the reason I'm doing this, and think of it as a push-up bra, we are creating our cheekbones to look a little fuller. Now, if you need to go back and forth and chisel it to get that moving, go right ahead. But we're just pushing up. I'm going to caution you, don't blend it all away. You don't want it to be all faded because we are going to be doing bronzer and other things. So we'll be blending some more. So don't worry. Even if you leave it really heavy, it's okay. Just push up though, you don't want to drag it down. So you want to make sure your contour stays where it is there. None of it came down because if it does, it's going to make your cheeks look dragged down. I'm lightly going to blend out that nose, although I normally just blend it with my fingers because I don't want to blend it all away. My lip, I'm not even going to blend. I'm going to leave that because when I get to my lipstick, I'm going to be happy that I have it there. So then this contour, I'm blending down my neck. I like to stay usually inside of these marionette lines, and it makes my chin look longer when I create the shadow. There's lots of things, and I'm going to get into this with you in other videos down the road, but for today, don't worry about it. This is enough. But if you've got double chins, we do have techniques with contour that you can help eliminate or give the illusion that it's not as bad. So we'll do that in time. So for now, leave it at that. Next up, I'm going to take our main shade. So your main shade is the one that matches your overall skin tone best. So with this guy, if I were using my buff brush like I normally would, I would place it here on my cheek to start and kind of Nike swoop up and under that contour. We don't want it to go over the contour. This makeup is designed to not be layered, so you don't want to put, you know, this color all over, contour on top, stuff on top. Your foundation shades or your highlight shades, as we call them, usually go in paint by number, if you will. So they go where I'm showing you they go, and then blend it out from there. Creates the 3 colors, create an all over foundation look. So I'm just putting a little bit on top of this guy, which is the contour. I put it here and in between this contour line and this contour line. That's it. I've got quite a bit of redness going on my chin today, and I think this color will blend it out. A little bit up on my nose, and if not, when I'm done, I can come back and add a little more. Now you'll notice I'm just touching that down the side of my nose, and you can see already that my nose is looking a little slimmer. Once we put our brightener there, it's really gonna make a difference. You can put this up on your forehead if you feel that you need, but we are gonna be coming back up there with some bronzer, and I'm huge in only putting makeup where we need it. We don't want our makeup to look caked on or thick. So we're gonna go ahead again and blend as we go. So take the small end of this brush, and remember how I told you tap, tap, tap? So that is the best way to blend this makeup, is just by tapping it out. And it goes pretty fast. But just think of it as pressing it in. So you're pressing, and just kind of stippling it everywhere. And remember, you can pause the video to catch up and just do the same. So you're getting coverage, but you can still see my contour. But then the discoloration is really tamed. And there we have it. So then the next shade I'm going to use is my brightener, which is the lightest of the shades that I recommended. I'm still using the same brush, still has the same contour on it. It doesn't even matter. The makeup doesn't mix together, which is kind of miraculous, but it's the truth. It is just the best. So I'm putting like a little cactus flower on my forehead. I'm drawing down in the middle of the two contour lines on my nose, so just a thin bit there. I'm actually going to take a little swipe of this in the inner corner of my eye, and then I'm going to build it up. And remember, you can do all this with your finger. I'm going to build it up there. I'm going to put a little bit here on my lip and a little bit here on my chin. So you'll notice I kept it all to the center of my face. I always like to say, take your fingers where the highest part of your brow is and attach them, and you will, or connect them, and you will see that that is the, I call it the Bermuda Triangle, and hope that it sticks something funny in your mind to make you remember. But nothing goes in this area. We don't put any bronzer or anything, only brightener in that area. So again, I'm going to blend this out. I mean, really stipple it out, but you can, you know, blend it. I try to do it in the shape of an upside down triangle. So think of it like that. And then down my nose, I'm just lightly blending. I don't want to really blend away my contour there. And then I'm going to pinch this brush a little bit to get it into that under eye area. And what I'm doing with that is I'm kind of bringing it down the side of my nose. And this guy over here, I'm just tapping in a motion where I'm kind of pulling it down into that above where the contour is, and then I'm just kind of stippling those lines together. And you could even do some of this on your lid and use it as your eyeshadow primer as well. So let's do a repeat on this side. So again, you can pause if you need to catch up. So we're going to just kind of stipple this down the side of my nose. Then this guy, I'm going to do the same, and I'm just pinching this brush so it's a little smaller, because really I would be using the small end of my buff brush. So I don't want to pull this up. We're trying to give the illusion that we gave ourselves a faux eye lift. So we want that light and brightness to be here and kind of pull down here. I'm going to blend out that little bit on my lip, a little bit on my chin, and I'm just keeping all that brightness in the center of my face other than the eye lift, the faux eye lift. Now again, when you follow my group, I'll teach you all kinds of other little tips and uses for that amazing brightener product, because there are many. At this stage, I sometimes like to take my Perfector sponge. So if you've got a beauty sponge of any type, you can take this and just kind of press that makeup in. And it's just giving it an extra good blend. You could also do this at the very end and put some of your setting spray. We have an amazing setting spray right on your sponge and blend it out with that. And if you don't have a sponge, or if you have one at home, we have them, but you need to wet it, and they get really nice and bouncy and soft, and it just picks up. So if you had any excess makeup, it would pick it up. Plus it just presses it in, and do you see how beautiful? It just gives a really nice finish to your makeup. Now again, if you wanted to go back and touch up any of your contour, oops, that's the wrong, contour's not on there anymore. I'm gonna pop that off. I'm gonna actually have to put a little bit of contour on because I just rubbed white. I rubbed brightener. I didn't mean to do that. There we go. There's a little bit of that contour back. So I'm just trying to give myself that little bit of a oomph again. So then next up, we are going to take our bronzer, which is the more golden shade. And we're going to just swirl the fluffy end into your bronzer, and we're going to pop that here. Now where bronzer goes is the higher parts of your face, so where the sun would naturally hit you. Now you can take this and blend it out as you go, just, you know, doing circular motion. Remember, nothing in the Bermuda Triangle, so we're going outside of that. Think of this as a number 3. It's going to come right down your neck, and it's going to come out above your contour, not on your contour. It's going to be above, but you want to stay clear of this little under eye area, or else that's where we tend to get fine lines and wrinkles, and it might draw attention to them. Now I like to flip my brush and kind of blend that out with the smaller end. I feel like I get a much better blend. But here's what I, sometimes will say is just kind of put it on in the places that I'm telling you. So that number 3. I would also put some on my chin, a little bit on the bridge of my nose, and maybe a little bit on my lip. So then I'm going to just totally flip and blend. So you could either do it and blend it out like I did on the other side, or if that's a little bit stressful for you, apply it. You could even put it on with your finger and then take the small end of this brush, blend it on down. I love to put a little bit of this on my my neck, whatever is kind of left on the brush, and connect. If you're using your sunscreen on your face, chances are your face is lighter than your chest, which is a good thing, and you're going to want to warm that up with your bronzer. So go right ahead, bring it down and do that. So there you have it. That is my foundation with my bronzer, and you can, warm up your bronzer again as much as you feel you would like to. Then we've got 1 tin left in our compact, and that is our, lip and cheek. And we're going to do that in just a minute. But before I do, I'm going to go and do a really quick eye look. I've got a couple of colors here that I'm just going to pull on for today. So I'm going to start with this shade called Paris. It's just a really pretty pink. And I'm just going to start with that. Now, I have hooded eyes, so that means that this part of my eye overhangs my lid. And because of that, if I were to just put shadow on my lid, it's not even really going to be seen. So I like to leave my eye open, come up here. You'll notice I'm holding the brush toward the back of the brush, and you just get a really nice windshield wash motion, windshield washer, and swoop that shadow on. And just kind of blend it out. And it's just a nice pretty pink. I'm just going for something really simple. Probably, I actually shouldn't have even done what I'm doing. I probably should have just done a 2 shadow look for you, which maybe I will. I'll just keep it simple. Okay, so we'll do that. And then I'm just going to take, now that I've changed my mind, I was going to go in with a darker color in the outer V, but I don't think I need to. I'm just going to take this pretty shade called Tawanda, and Tawanda goes on, it's a shimmer, but it's got a little bit of gold in it. So I'm just going to put that on the lid. And we're just going to make this really easy for the purpose of today's video, so not to confuse you. And some of you, when you ordered, you did order 2 shadows. So this would be the method that you would put them on. That's all. So I just kind of wanted to keep it simple. After I apply my shimmer, I don't like to get shimmer up on the hood area because it emphasizes and sticks out in those fine lines. So I would just come back with my shadow brush and just make sure that I don't. Now, one thing that I always do is I take a darker shadow color. I love a shade called Oak. So anytime I'm using a light shade like I am here, Oak comes in handy. It also works great in my brows. So I'm just running a little bit of Oak in my under eye area. And what that does is it creates the look right in my lash line, I should say, my lower lash line. What it does is creates the look of an eyeliner without it being harsh like eyeliner. So that just kind of gives me a nice finish. Now, you know that same contour that we use to do our cheeks. I'm going to take my line brush and I'm actually going to fill in my brows. And your contour shade was matched for you to match your brows. So go ahead and use a line brush or one similar until you can get this guy, and fill in your brows in any places that you feel you need it. Now, I did start with using a little bit of our brow wax, and that just kind of makes the hair stand up, and it makes it that I need a little bit less product when I'm blending them out. Then I'm just going to flip this around. So again, once your collection grows, you can grow all of this. But for today, this contour is already in your compact. So go ahead and use it for your brows. It's amazing. You can also use it to line your lips. Remember how we started? And I put a little bit of that contour under my lip. And I said, don't worry about blending it out. Well, that's why. I'm also going to put on my top lip. It doesn't have to be perfect because it's not actually lip liner. I'm using it to create a shadow. So now I'm going to take my finger, tap it out, and these are extras. You don't have to do this, but you do have the product. So if you want to do it, why not? So then I'm going to go ahead and put some mascara on. I like to use one called Maybelline Sky High, but you can use one that, you know, that you've got in your compact, or not your compact, I guess your makeup bag. We don't sell a mascara, and I've tried so many like really expensive ones, and I keep coming back to this guy. It's cheap. It's sold at Walmart or Shoppers Drug Mart or any of your, in the US, Targets or whatever. You can even get it on Amazon. And again, it's Maybelline Sky High. And I just feel it's such a nice shade, or a nice thickness. It makes your lashes look nice and full, and you can really get a good coverage with it. But any mascara that you love will do the same. There's nothing special about this. In fact, it's probably less special than what some of the tubulars and that kind of thing are. One little tip, if you do make a little smear like I just did over here, whoops, my mirror picked up my, you can take your spoolie brush once your mascara is dry and just scratch it. And that mascara will come right off without having to go in and wet and ruin your makeup that you just finished doing. Sometimes, and my mascara I think is getting a little bit old. It's time for me to switch it up. Sometimes I like to kind of come in and just, you know, make sure that I've got them smoothed out and the way I want my lashes with my spoolie brush as well. So you can do the same with yours. Just get rid of any clumps or any fullness in places or whatever. Make it how you want it, but just make such a difference. I always like to come back in with my brightener shade and just kind of, you know, clean up a little bit here. So if you have any fallout from your eyeshadow, you can just kind of come back in with your brush and just tap, tap, tap it out. I went a little too high there. Just rub that with my finger. So that's the beauty of this makeup, you guys, is that it just blends so nicely with your fingers or with a brush, or you can, you know, come back with your bit of bronzer, whatever you need to do. So the next thing I'm going to apply is our lip and cheek. Now, you can put this on with your finger as well, or you can put it right on with your brush because you have this brush, and put on as much as you want. Now, my color today is called Cindy. And it's a little bit of a gloss, but it's one of my favorites. So you can do the whole press in, so stipple, stipple. Where your blush is going to go is probably 3 fingers back from here. You're going to start here in the back and then just press it in. You could actually put it on in a line if you want first, like that, and then blend it down as well. Or you can just put it right on with your finger. Another nice tip with this lip and cheek is you could actually use this as an eyeshadow. So say you didn't get an eyeshadow, you could take your contour, your bronzer actually makes amazing eyeshadow, and then a little bit of the lip and cheek right on your lid, and you can actually have the look of an eyeshadow look similar to what I just did, a really simple one, right from these 6 shades. Everything is interchangeable, remember that. So then I'm going to take a little bit of that lip color, and because I did the contour around, I got mascara right on my lip. How did I do that? So I like to just take it and really over exaggerate the blend to blend in that contour, because the warmth of my body temperature is going to make that really blend down nicely and give me a little bit of a shadow look without it looking like, oh my goodness, what happened to her lips. So I always, and again, this is, you know, just optional, but that same eyeshadow that I used on my lid, you could take a little bit of that and pop it right on top of your lipstick. And it actually helps your lipstick stay longer. And It gives you a little bit of shimmer to your lip. So because I'm older, it's an area that I can wear a shimmer. And then to finish off, you may not have ordered your illuminator, but I always suggest one in your color match. And I like to put the illuminator right here on the top of my cheek. I'm just using one in my compact called Rose Gold. A little bit down. I usually recommend Angel because I feel like it's such a nice color for everybody starting, but honestly, they all blend so nice. And I like to put a little bit of that right on the Cupid's bow. And then if you look in the light, do you see how it catches the light? So you got that pretty little shimmer right about there. So there is a really fast, easy makeup application using just the shades that you would have. So again, my eye could be bronzer or contour done on the lid. So on the hood, in the crease. Actually, let me just do a little bit. I'll just add a little bit for some warmth right here and just show you what I'm talking about. So you could take it and just kind of windshield wash back and forth right in that crease, maybe a little bit in that lower corner. And I'm just using my bronzer. So I'm using Bella bronzer here. So up on that hood area, remember you can have your eye left open. And then bring a little bit down into that outer corner. And the secret to a nice looking eyeshadow look is all in the blend. Blend, blend, blend. And when you're on shore, blend a little bit more. You can also use that same bronzer for here under your lash line. Remember where I use the eyeshadow. You don't have to. Just put a little bit of that. And then that lip and cheek color that I used, I'm just going to swirl a little bit in that. And you can just kind of stamp that right across and create the pink that you want there. And that way you're getting an eyeshadow look without having to do anything more than this. And again, you all may not have that, but chances are if you ordered from me, this is what you have. You started with the blush and bronzer brush that came as a bonus came with a bonus Bella bronzer. You've got your contour, one lip and cheek, one brightener, and one main shade. And that can create this. Do you see how beautiful my contour still looks? My skin looks great. It's glowing. It's covered up any of the distractions and redness and issues that I had. I slimmed down to make my nose look a little slimmer. And I ended up, you can put your lip if you want it a little more pink, a little brighter. Same thing with your blush if you want to go back for a little more blush. Now that I've changed my eyeshadow, I'm feeling like maybe I need a little more color here too. So there you go, ladies. A zillion things that you can do and turn out great. So if you have questions, please reach out. Again, you can go back in and use your setting spray. Spray on your sponge or spray the fluffy end of your brush. That works as well. And just kind of tap, 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 press that makeup in, and that will make it last all day. And pressing it into your skin really helps as well. Removing any of that excess makeup. And you can see there's really nothing that came off because I didn't overuse. So I want to caution you with this makeup, you need the littlest bit. You've seen how little I put on, especially your main shade. And honestly, skin is in. So if your skin is looking good and you don't have broken capillaries or you don't have redness or issues in an area, don't cover it. You don't have to. It's fine to leave it and just, showcase your actual skin. But if you want to have a little bit of coverage, just really thin and go. If you have questions, please reach out to me. Thank you for watching this video. If you have somebody that you think might be interested, please share with them. I would love that. Sharing is caring, and that's how I grow. And I will be back to offer more videos. But for now, follow my group. Stay in touch. Let's keep you loving your makeup and get that confidence growing. Have a great day, everyone. Bye for now.